Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Spiritual Journey podcast. My name is Nimish Rodi, and I'm your host. I always love starting every episode by saying thank you. I feel so blessed with this podcast, the people it reaches, the impact it has. I started this podcast in my kitchen, using my AirPods just maybe 5.5 years ago, and my intention was to really simplify spirituality and guide you on your spiritual journey. And I started with maybe one episode every 1 or 2 months, and now release 2 a week. So normally with a guest or with my co-host Stacey, but occasionally I like to do a solo episode. So today's going to be a solo episode. I am an Akashic record reader, Akashic trainer, podcast host, podcast creator, as well as a spiritual coach and mentor. And what I get to do is I get to guide you in your journey. I get to guide you to who you really are, releasing the layers of programming that we hold on to, and guiding you to shine your light authentically. I do that in so many different ways, but the thing I love most is spiritual mentoring, where I get to work with you one-to-one. There's really two options. I have a framework. Over 12 weeks, I work through your full bodies, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And during a weekly call, first week of every month is 90 minutes, every other call is 60. I really hold your space and I guide you to you. Yes, there is a framework, there's a structure. I work you through your full body, starting with physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. But really, every session's channeled. And I really working through the internal work to get to you. Phase 2, if you choose to go there, is really guiding you to take everything you've done to heal the internal, to then actually shine it externally. I love what I get to do. I also have a bespoke option where we have a call every week or every 2 weeks, and everything is channeled and regularly open the Akashic records. And but best thing to do is book a free discovery call, and we can talk about which option is best for you. Also, just to mention, I have a beautiful membership where it's a safe space for you to be, for you to connect. The reason I mention it now is I have a monthly call, normally around the new moon, and so the day I release this, on Monday, 15th June, is going to be a new moon, and that just happens to be the monthly call. So if you listen to this early enough, you can join and join that monthly call. I include like a detailed PDF, really kind of is a guide of this month and some of the things you should consider, the current energy. On the call itself, I'll take you through what I feel the current energy is, as well as showing you some slides, and then a bespoke meditation just for the membership group that I don't share anywhere else. Obviously, if you miss the call, the recording's available, the meditation's available. But yeah, if you feel inclined and you really want the support of a community, then I include the link in the show notes. Join us. But I'm excited about today's topic. And, when I do a solo episode, I tend to record it kind of very close to the time I'm going to release it. And even the joint episodes with Stacey, they tend to be quite close to when we're going to release it too. But I'm actually recording this at 3:33 a.m. on Sunday morning. So again, I just like the energy to be really current. And so this this week's topic has really been decided and derived from lots of conversation I've been having. It feels like to be this continuous shift, and I talk a lot about a disconnect between the human self and the soul and the spirit, because I feel like the soul and the spirit, as we work in lifetimes for this time, this period that we're in right now, where we're going through all the shift and we're closing so many cycles, I feel like the soul and the spirit is really excited. But I feel like the human struggles. The human wants to control, wants to understand, wants to really kind of manage the next few steps. And so that's what I'm going to talk about. Your soul has already moved on and your human self hasn't. And the disconnect that everyone's feeling. And everybody's feeling it differently, by the way. So don't assume that everyone's feeling it the same as you. But it's an interesting time. And, actually, as I start this episode, I'd love for you to let me know if it resonates. Does you having a feeling of disconnect between the human and the soul, does that resonate? Because a human, everyone says, I love change, I love change. the human really only loves change when it can see it coming or have an idea of what it is. Whereas right now, most of us can feel this shift happening inside, but don't really know what it's going to lead to, and it makes the human inside uncomfortable. And by the way, just to be clear, the ego. I don't recommend trying to kill the ego or push the ego away, and I want to take the ego with me. But I want to kind of talk to the human and the ego and say, you know what, you don't need to control things. Because the ego is trying to keep you safe. Because if you all of a sudden start to change and start to trust what's coming without control, then what if you fall down? What if you struggle? And that's where the human wants, the ego side wants to keep you safe. And I always recommend starting by talking to your ego, letting your ego know that you don't need protection. The ego wants you to stay the same, and the reality is they only constantly change, so you're not going to stay the same. But it's so talk to your ego, have a conversation, and let your ego know that you don't need to be kept safe. And sometimes it helps giving your ego a name, and you can sometimes make it a funny name. Pick a cartoon character. When you give your ego a name, you can start to have a conversation with it different. And love your ego, but don't let it control you. But yeah, I mean, as we jump into the topic, that's why I feel like so many of us are feeling unsettled because of that disconnect. Like I said, the soul, your soul, I've done episodes on this before, but your soul picked this journey. Your soul is fully aware of your purpose in this lifetime, the soul contracts you've had, and this is why we recorded an episode where, we talk about, well, hold on, your soul made all these decisions, but does the human really agree? And it's interesting, right? Because for a lot of us, our soul picked a really challenging life, which has been really expansive. We've closed so many soul cycles, karmic cycles. But if you as a human had a choice, you probably wouldn't have gone through as much pain as your soul picked. But you've got to remember that you're so much more capable than the human would really realize. The soul is so much more expansive. And I really believe you're never going to be given anything you can't handle. And this is the thing. The reason your soul, your spirit actually feels more comfortable is, one, our soul's been waiting for it. It's been working lifetimes to really, for all these shifts, all these karmic closures. And actually your soul does know what the next chapter is. And right now we get glimpses, we get little clips of maybe what the future holds, how expansive it's going to be. But I also believe the shift the planet's going through, what our life looks like in years to come, is going to be so different. So our own journey, our own shift actually is in line with what the planet's going through. And I believe if we get too much exposure and vision of what the future is, probably the human can't take it. Honestly, when I tap into what I feel the planet's going through over the coming period, whether it be months, years, I feel like the planet is going to go through a lot of pain. But actually, in many ways, us as humans have maybe already gone through this pain as a precursor, and I feel like this next phase, we get a choice. We either embrace this journey and trust our spirit and our soul and let our spirit and soul drive, or get consumed by the noise that the pain the planet's going to go through. And, maybe get a bit stuck and maybe feel the pain more, etc. And whichever you pick is your free will. There is no right or wrong. Whichever you pick is probably the one that you're meant to pick. Obviously, I'd encourage you to pick the one that really trusts your spirit and your soul. And what do I mean by trusting your spirit? It's letting go of your expectations, letting go of the need to control. That doesn't mean you don't manifest what your future looks like, you don't dream big, but you let go of how it's going to be delivered. And you also allow the universe to deliver an even bigger dream than you could have imagined. But if you try and restrict yourself on expectations, if you try and control, that's where I feel the pains are going to come. And right now, I feel the message is take one simple step at a time. One simple step at a time. And, again, I highly recommend talking to the ego. Because the other thing, that the reason the human is struggling is because we've gone through so much change, closed so many karmic cycles. And in some ways, sometimes the human's tired. Humans like, I don't want to keep going through these shifts. But this is the phase we're in. I feel like we've finished a phase or finishing a phase of completion, which involved a lot of karmic cycles closing, which involved this intense energy where we all feel like we're going through the same. And I feel like we're going into a phase of new beginnings. And the new beginnings is asking for a different sort of trust. And if you look around, everybody's going through some sort of shift, but everybody may be going through it a little differently. And, maybe the human is scared of, whatever's coming next in terms of what has your soul picked for you. But again, I don't believe we're ever going to be given anything we can't handle. That's where my trust comes in. And honestly, the way I look at things is I know nothing. It means I'm not holding on to any information that I feel like is mine. Wherever the information comes from, it comes from a higher place, a different place. I don't know what's coming next for me. I feel like it's been coming for a long time, and I feel like I've been in this holding pattern, but I can feel lots of things shifting. I mean, for example, last week I ran a retreat in Glastonbury, and it's the first solo retreat I've ran. I've done retreats before, I've done jointly, but this is the first solo one, and I wanted to do it solo. I guess I wanted to hold space for the time we were there, but I saw so many things shifting. We did meditations on the grounds of Glastonbury Abbey in Chalice Well, which is such a beautiful spiritual place. And we did an ancestral meditation in Glastonbury Abbey. So much transformation, so much shifting. And I feel like the people that attended are representation of a lot of people that listen to this podcast. So I really hope you resonate. This one felt very personal to me. When I picked the title, it kind of lifted me up in a way, but also it resonated with what I feel like a lot of us are going through. And the thing is, we all have different identities, right? And some of these identities are collapsing faster than ever. Identities that we've been holding on to of, maybe who we are at work, who we are at home, a lot of our soul contracts are coming to an end. So, and by the way, that doesn't mean new soul contracts with the same people around you don't come through. But it does mean there are a lot of endings and identities collapsing. And I'll do a separate episode on this at some point, but avatars and identities are different. Identities are these expectations of the person that you thought you were going to be. Married, with kids, in this home, and earning this much money. What are those expectations that are keeping you stuck? You can have avatars. So it's like if you're an artist and you enjoy painting, you can give an avatar a name which allows you to channel to paint. You can, if you're recording a podcast using your voice, that can be an avatar. The thing to remember is that how you do one thing is how you do everything. So the different avatars allow you to channel differently, maybe channel a different set of guides, but it's different to your identities. Your identities are things that you're holding on to. And so to keep it simple, what identities are you holding on to? Which version of you are you holding on to? What are your expectations of where you thought you were going to be right now? After going through all this pain and all these shifts, did you feel like you were going to be happy? Did you feel like you were going to be in a different place? By the way, happiness comes from the moment. It doesn't come from where you live or, it just comes from inside. I really believe everything we need, everything we're looking for is inside of us. All the love, all the joy, all the answers come from inside. And inside the physical body holds part of our soul. but our soul is so much bigger than our physical. So when I say inside, I actually mean inside all parts of us, including soul, spirit, human. And this is, I mean, I say quite often, it's like when we have a question, why do we always, the first thing to go to is we Google it, or now we ask ChatGPT or whichever AI we're going to pick. I always recommend listening to you, trusting your intuition. The last episode that I recorded with Stace was all talking about the trusting your intuition. So if you're struggling with your intuition, I would go back and listen to that. And the other thing that we're going through is a lot of us are grieving that version of us that we left behind. That version of us that we thought was going to be somewhere. And it's like we've gone through so many shifts and that version doesn't exist anymore. The dreams you have, they maybe you're holding on to, but if you really sit with it, do those dreams still resonate? And the thing is, how do you recognize what the soul wants compared to the human? Again, it comes from your intuition. When your soul is leading, everything flows and is naturally in place. You're trusting your intuition. The little voice in your head that's quiet, that's more loving, not the ego, which is brash. And the other thing you recognize is you're not trying to control everything. You're not trying to take things, one step at a time. You are trying to take things one step at a time, just the next simple step. You're trying to control everything. What your personal life looks like, what your work life looks like. That's where you're being human. It's when you focus on the moment, you feel the love and the joy and the beauty in the moment. That's when you're letting your soul spirit take lead. And this is the other thing we feel is I feel like we're trying to live in two worlds. The spiritual world, if you listen to this, you may be doing lots of spiritual activities, but then you're living in a human world which actually you don't belong in anymore. And the other thing that's making us uncomfortable, and again, did some episodes on this a while ago, is the void. Our old life no longer exists. We don't fit into it anymore. And a new life's not fully formed. So this in-between phase makes us feel uncomfortable. In between two worlds. But the world you belong in is in the present moment. So again, as I can keep talking about this, does this resonate? Does this current energy feel really intense to you? And if you sat with it, how uncomfortable do you really feel? And this is the other way to decide whether you're being spirit, soul-led, is what questions are you asking yourself? If you are asking, oh, why is this always happening to me? I knew this was going to happen. Why does this person do that? So if you're giving your power away, instead of sitting and say, hold on, what does this phase mean to me? What can I be grateful for in this moment? The conversation you have with yourselves is so important. It gives you so many clues. And even things like the colors you wear. During the retreat, we talked a lot about vibrational linguistics, and that includes the colors that you wear, the intention when you go out, when you open the door and you leave your home. You can pick an intention. I went through a process, and I can share with you quickly now. It's just you can decide to be, you know what, today I want to just feel love, and you can pretend there's a wardrobe there. You open the wardrobe. There's a whole series of cloaks there. You pick the cloak that you want to pick. And if it's love, you put that cloak on. You feel that cloak around you. And you let every part of that feeling of love emanate from you. And you keep that cloak on, that imaginary cloak, as you're walking around. You just feel love around you. And maybe during the times, a few times, and that cloak could be joy. It could be abundance. And and by the way, it could also be invisible. If there's a day that you just want to be in your own little world, do that too. I wouldn't recommend it too much. You know what? Because your light, you're meant to be shining your light. This is the other thing, is that we're feeling the pressure from so many different places because we know that our vibration is changing. It's shifting. And I feel like the universe is pushing us to speak our truth, shine our light. and one step at a time. And if you want to continue to be in your little cocoon, this is again where you're going to feel uncomfortable because I feel like the universe is going to push you to really shine your light differently, speak your truth. Maybe you're meant to be on stage. Maybe you're meant to be starting a podcast. Maybe you're meant to be a guest on this podcast. Who knows? Maybe you're meant to be doing something different. Maybe you're meant to really choose your healing modality. But it's all around how you're shining your light one step at a time. And today, if you listen to this on Monday the 15th or even Tuesday the 16th, there's still a new moon energy. New moons are a beautiful time to manifest. Most new moons. It's new beginnings. So you can take this current energy, which is forcing us to shift, and use the energy and the vibration of the new moon to really energize yourself and to shift. And you're really simple. Focus on the next step. What can you do today that's going to lift your soul? What can you do today is going to make you feel amazing? And some of that actually should be time in nature, time in meditation. But maybe there's one thing you've been putting off. Pick one thing every day that lifts your soul. One thing. Because we make it so big that in the end we don't start anything because it's too difficult. But if you just pick one thing that moves you forward every day, your world will start to shift. And you said this period feels so different for all of us. Some people feel like they're shifting so quickly that we're closing so many cycles that it's kind of hard to keep up, like you're on this roller coaster. Some people feel like this phase is really slow. For me, I feel like there is so much happening inside and around me. And you know what? Sometimes the human's not even aware. Sometimes your guides are working behind the scenes and there's so much closure happening. But they need to keep the human kind of quiet to allow them to do the work. So I believe we're all shifting really quickly at this moment. But whatever you're feeling, it doesn't matter. Honor it. And, if you feel disconnected between the human and the soul right now, well, sit with it and say, what is that disconnect? I always recommend having a conversation with your soul and asking your soul, well, hold on, why did we make these decisions? But the biggest thing is for you to trust. And it's really hard to do because we don't really fully understand what's coming next. But what if by you just trusting whatever's coming next, you doing one thing every day that lifts your soul? What if you being present in the moment, feeling the beauty, the gratitude in this moment? What if that allows you to slowly but surely catch up with your soul and feel the magic that's happening around us? I truly feel it's a blessing to be on this planet right now as a soul, because there's so much expansion, so much release of karma. The soul is going through so many shifts. I feel like we're going through more shifts in this lifetime than probably in 3 previous lifetimes. It may not feel like a blessing to the human. I get that. And I really do. I understand, because this is an intense time. So many people are going through so many intense things. And I see with the people I'm work with, it's like, one or two things tends to happen when I'm mentoring people is some relationships in your world get really stronger. You build on them because these are souls that lift you up. They're meant to be in your future. Other relationships drift away. And if you try and hold on to them, that's why pain comes. Things are shifting. People are leaving your world because they're not meant to be there for this next phase. I always recommend you looking at who's in your world right now. Start with the main 5 people and ask, do they lift me up? Do they drain me? Is my soul contract with them done? Because you've got to, as we enter into this next phase, you've got to make sure that you have a strong team around you. If you don't, manifest it. I'm sure a lot of people will say, I don't have those type of people around me. Well, have you asked? Have you truly opened your heart and soul? Or are you so fearful of being hurt that you're just sticking with the same people you always had, even though they're hurting you? Because you're worried if you let them go, who's just going to be replaced with? This is part of the trust. This is part of the trust the soul's asking you to do, is to let go of those beings, those souls that you're done with. Take your power back, stand in your power. And yes, it's uncomfortable, but this is part of this phase, to stand in your power, speak your truth, and pick the people that raise you, that lift you up. They challenge you, but challenge you in a loving way. And really an important question to ask right now is, which part of you is making the decision? And it's just, again, your language gives you such a clue. It's like if you're making a decision and you say, how do I think about this? Thinking comes from the brain. It comes from, that the ego part, the human part. Feeling comes from the heart. So even that simple change, instead of asking, how do I think about this? How do I feel about it? And your body gives, we talked about this previous episode, your body gives you such a clue. It's like if you ask a question, how do you feel about it? And when you ask inside, how does that make you feel? Does it lift you up? The other thing to do is speak it out loud. Ask the question. It's like, and if you feel a lump in your throat, if you feel like a visceral reaction in your body, then it's probably something you shouldn't do. If it lifts you up, then do it. But again, which part of you is making the decision? That gives you such a clue. And in this moment, how you feel. Does this topic empower you? Or does it drain you? How do you feel about spending time with you? If you struggle with this, then there's probably some resistance. If you struggle to spend time with you, then again, there's some healing that needs to happen. I 100% recommend you spend time with you, because you will get to know this new version of you. Don't assume that you know this version of you. Take time to get to know this version of you. And remember, your soul already knows. Your soul already knows. And if you trusted your soul, what if this next phase will be more and more easy and great? And by the way, it's a beautiful time to reach out to me. I love what I get to do. If my voice resonates, then maybe that's your one aligned action that you're going to take. You're going to reach out to me. You're going to book a free discovery call, and maybe we're meant to work together. And if mentorship isn't for you right now, maybe you're working through financial abundance, join the membership. Membership is only $29 a month. And even if that's a struggle right now, then I have a full moon webinar once a month, which is free, for 90 minutes of healing. But reach out, DM me, let me know how this episode felt. And by the way, if it resonates, please do like, share, comment, share with other people. It really, really does help. But remember, your soul already knows the next chapter. Your human self is trying to catch up. And be gentle with yourself. Be loving with yourself. And like I said, if I can help, I love what I get to do. And I always wonder about these solo episodes. Do you feel more connected to them? Do you prefer the guest episodes? Do you prefer the episodes with Stace? I'm always looking for feedback. I love this podcast. It's my way of giving back. As you notice, there isn't any adverts here. I talk about what I do, but I'm intentionally not adding adverts and I get people reaching out to me all the time, wanting to talk about putting adverts on this podcast. I really don't want to do that. This podcast is sacred to me. It's my way of speaking my truth. I get asked the question quite often, am I writing a book? You know what? This podcast is my book. So if it resonates, please do let me know. I love getting those messages. If there's anything you want me to do differently, please let me know. I do get some feedback on the sound sometimes, so I am looking at how we need to shift that. But my biggest message to you right now is to fall in love with you, to trust whatever's coming next. Look back, look through your history of everything you've been through, and just look at your most painful things you've been through and ask, how did I grow? What did I learn from that period? Because during your most painful period, the universe is still supporting you. And the other thing is ask for help. Ask for help from your guides. Let them show up and show off, and you've got to trust they're going to be there. Because if you ask for help or in your mind you already decided you're not going to get help, your guides are like, okay, what you really want is not help. So, okay, we want help. You got to trust. You got to trust in you. You are a powerful being. You are meant to be here. Let me say that again. You're a powerful being. You are meant to be here. If you don't feel love on the human realm, allow your guides to love you unconditionally. Allow the universe to love you. Maybe you haven't felt that love recently, and I get that. But what if this moment things are shifting? What if in this moment you truly allow yourself to feel the love inside and around you? What if in this moment you feel the love and light I'm sending you in this moment? Because my intention in this moment and through this episode and through what I do is to always send love and light. So in this moment, I'm sending you so much love and light. I truly, truly hope you can feel it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing me to support you. I truly hope this episode shifted you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Bye for now.